First things first. I'm Ronzakai. This is Little Gay Guide. It's the channel I just started a month ago. We've been chatting for pretty much all of that month, and I am very, really glad that I caught you. um, so
My pleasure.
first, how about introduce yourself? Is it Roberto Nissi? Is that the right
Yes,
pronunciation?
that's correct. Um, and you pronounce it correctly because many people in the UK they say, "Oh, Roberto, Nisai, Nisai." No,
I have
Nisi.
the same problem in the States. I come from Israel, and Zakai, because I decided as a kid to spell it with a Y, which is of course not in Hebrew, but because it ends with a Y, every single America is Zakai, Ron Zakai. I'm like, no, Ron Zakai. It's actually Zakai. Tell us a little about yourself, just as a general introduction to people who have
Ooh,
not. Yeah.
okay. General introduction. My name is Roberto, but for over 20 years, all my friends and many people who know me have been calling me Bobo. It's just a nickname, Robert, Bob, Bobo. So for me, it's far more natural to hear Bobo and to turn around rather than Roberto. I am Italian, obviously. I have lived in the UK for nearly 6 years now, and which I love. And it's actually after moving to the UK and specifically London that I started doing what I am doing now. Because before that, uh, drawing was just a passion, something that I was doing in my free time, and for a long period, my job was taking most of my time, so I was like exhausted, and I put it on a side completely. And then when I was tired of that life and I moved to London, I felt that my creativity was started to come out again. I needed to do something. I started going to cafes in Soho, the gay area, and all these beautiful men walking by inspired me. So that's how I started, and that's how I created my job. Really.
So just a little disclaimer. I'm a huge fan. That's how I came across your stuff.
Thank you.
And in the middle of the pandemic, by the way, because it's going to go on podcasts and YouTube. Yeah, it's only one
Ah,
of them. But this is the reason I know you. Literally,
okay.
this is the reason I know you. And for us in COVID, at least in the beginning, we didn't know how long it's going to be. And in the middle, masks became a little more than just a necessity. I'm like, okay, if we go outside anywhere, we need to put something that's a little more within our character and our style. That's how we came upon your art. We are huge fans, but I'll get to that later. I'm really curious, kind of like the process of the mask, because when I first tried to get your masks, it was impossible.
I know that for a while it was a nightmare for myself. I was so stressed. For a while, I was really, really on the verge of
Too much.
exhaustion. I was like crazy. Yeah.
Well, I have so let's actually okay. So a little bit just in general, your art is very very interesting in a sense that I know gay art, I know gay comic art. It's usually hypersexualized. It's usually goes
Yeah.
to the place of we take the hyper masculine stuff and we enhance it to make it more entertaining in art, or at least more sexy in art. You kind of run a line, and I'm not speaking for you. Please respond in your own words and your own feelings. But you're really in that place to me that doesn't push sexuality too much. That makes the art about sex, but it hints it enough that it keeps it gay, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Well,
Well,
I think that actually it's what you say is true. Many artists push it quite a lot, which I appreciate a lot. For example, I am a huge fan of Jiraiya, Tagame, so they are great Japanese artists. I grew
oh
up with
yeah,
manga, so Japan always has a special place in my heart.
you read manga?
But oh yeah, I love manga. So
I follow manga heavily, like heavily.
before moving to London and starting drawing men, my whole previous life, I was drawing manga girls like Sailor Moon, that kind of stuff. So that's my past. Yeah.
Wow, I'm a shonen kid. I've been following One Piece for the last 20 years. I've been
Oh yeah.
following all of shonen, basically all of it. Some niche stuff like Monster and other stuff. But I've read Parasite. I read manga before I watched anime. And back in
Mhm.
Israel, we had some manga movies, like Ghost in the Shell and stuff like this, which influenced my consumptions of sci-fi and fantasy.
You know,
But
just a couple of days ago, I found the old Akira, the movie, which I watched ages ago, and for some reason I wanted to watch it again, and it's still so good.
every frame is stacked. It's kind of like Ghost in the Shell. Every frame was like a masterpiece or a centerfold in what would
And
be the
again,
manga.
I read the manga before watching the movie,
Oh, the
and
manga is
in
better.
Italy, actually, when I was a kid, I always watched cartoons or anime, and those arrived in Italy quite early. So I was lucky enough to watch a lot of stuff when I was a kid and growing up. Uh, Mangas arrived a bit later, and only in recent years they started to be common, easy to find. But when I was a kid, I remember that I was struggling. When I was a teenager, I had to jump on a train and go to a bigger cities in Italy to find comic shops selling, for example, Ranma or Maison Ikkoku. I'm a huge fan of Rumiko Takahashi, so
Wow.
to find that kind of stuff, or even Dragon Ball Z, everything was so hard to find, especially in Italian. I had to order stuff in Japanese. I learned some Japanese to read Ranma. So
I, I, I,
yeah,
I,
huge
I
fan here. Huge fan.
yeah, my very first job outside of Israel, what actually threw me out of Israel was a project in Japan, and I never looked back. So
Hmm.
from Israel to Japan, it was over. That's how I got to the States at the end of it. But
Ooh.
but the moment they took me out of Israel and into Japan, and I learned the language, it was over. It was I'm not going back to Israel. I'm curious when it comes to people like yourself, and we'll connect it to your art in a second, because you're in a way you're an expat, but you're within, at least back then it was the EU. Now you guys are kind of on your own, ish. But what made you move? And within that move, was it the change of the day job? Was it the passion of the your art? Was it both? How did it go?
I grew up in a small town,
Hmm.
so there was not really much to do. I mean, you had to have friends, to have a kind of social life, but apart from that, there is not much happening. Like just a few cinemas, not much happening in theaters. There is not really much in general. So I wanted to know more, to see more. But also when I understood, when I realized that I was a gay man, also that was a big part of it, because I needed to connect, to know people, to feel like I was part of something, and I had to travel, and then first traveling, I started falling in love with Spain, and for a while I wanted to move to Madrid. So my luggage was nearly ready. I was ready to leave everything, go to Madrid, but then it was the beginning of a very bad economical period in Spain. There was a big crisis, so everybody, all my friends in Spain, they started saying, "No, don't come now because it's so hard to find a job." And then my father, who was already quite old at that time, he was ill,
Sorry.
and after some time he passed away. So for a while I had to stay in Italy to take care of him with my brother and my sister,
Wow.
to look after my mother. Uh, but when that happened, it made me realize that, because it was quite fast, in 6 months, everything happened.
Wow. Wow.
And it was heartbreaking, of course, but at the same time, it made me understand that there is nothing certain in life. If you want to do something, you better do it, because you don't know, tomorrow is not granted. So if you want to
Absolutely
do
not.
something, just do it. And that was the final push I needed. And I just started looking around. Okay, where can I go? Spain. Okay, it's still not that great to find a job. And then everything, I believe that the universe told me London, 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 because suddenly from nothing, I started meeting old people in my little hometown, old
Wow.
people related to London, who used to live in London but then moved there. And then a friend of mine who I met in Madrid, during that time was living in London. He was leaving a room to go and live with his boyfriend. So I arrived to London. There was already a room waiting for
Wow.
me. And another friend of mine told me that in the place where he was working in a tea shop, they were looking for people. So everything happened. It was so smooth. So it was like, oh yeah, it means that I really have to go to London. And I did.
First, I'm really sorry for the loss of your father. Um, it is when when you get something taken away from you very aggressively, you start to retake new stock, or you
Yeah.
put new appreciation on the things you have around you and the decision you're making. It's still not easy to uproot. I mean, I think for most people in small towns, and you're a good example. When we come out gay, you realize that the environment is too small for what you want to be.
So small.
Yeah, sitting in a coffee shop, being around the people that we call our tribe feels a lot better to I guess to a gay man that's out than being somewhere else that wouldn't feel that way, or you'll have
Yeah.
to hide it. Go on.
That's very true. And now, even when I go back to my hometown, I can be unapologetically gay. I mean, by nature, I'm not a flamboyant person, but uh, I don't want to hide. So if I am there with uh, my boyfriend, we can hold hands. I don't care. I don't give a
Right,
shit. I mean,
right.
whatever.
Oh, it's important.
Or I also in the last period when I was living there, I got to open to my colleagues at work. So even in that kind of small environment, I found amazing how my colleagues responded to myself coming
Would you have
out.
done that? Would you have done that had you not been in London for this long period of time? In other words, would you have gone back to your small
Mm,
town and
I
be this
did.
open?
mm,
Go on.
uh, Actually, I did that when I was still living
Oh,
there,
wow.
but that was, let's say, the last period. And but actually I believe that living in London, yeah, made me feel much more secure, much more confident, and yeah, in the past I had to hide. I have a past made of bad decisions because I couldn't accept myself. Living in London, yeah, it changed me. But don't get me wrong, I am really, really grateful for all those years living that I lived there, because I believe that when you are in a small environment, the focus of your life is people. So I got to make amazing friends who have been in my life for over 20 years.
Wow.
And we still talk every day. We still love each other very much. Maybe because we shared a very particular time of our lives, because we
Hmm.
were all discovering being gay, and we met each other through this old chat room called Mirk. I don't know if it was
I
also
only
there.
know the chat room I know of Europe is Gay Romeo, I believe. That's the one that's the most
But
familiar.
yeah, but I'm talking about 20 years ago,
Oh,
and we are still amazing friends. And when you don't have much more to do, you stick to your friends very much. I found that in the big city, friendships can be a bit more fast
transient.
and changing quickly. So I am really grateful that I have those amazing friends that I still treasure very much, even living here and not seeing them very often. So that
Thanks.
part of my life, I believe that it's good in life to have different periods doing different experiences, because you build yourself. So
Absolutely.
it's all good.
Yeah, it's not just big city good, small town bad. It's they have their value in each of their
Yeah.
times. I think coming from Israel in many ways gave me a lot of perspectives in the States. First, do you have a website? I know I'll put it in the links for sure, but for people who just hear it,
Website is bobo-bear.com, because bobo-bear.com was already taken. So it's bobo-bear. They can find, and if you Google just Bobo-Bear, or they will find me anyway. So it's good.
good. So a little about your art, and I want to kind of start with COVID and actually yes, the story of the masks, because again, when it came to our consciousness, it was a group of our friends, and they came back and one of their pictures were like, "We want those masks." And I looked you online. I bought like a lot of masks.
Thank you.
My favorite is the white one that just has two teeth coming up, and
Oh yeah.
that's the one that I basically wear everywhere. He needs washing more often than the others. So yeah, we have all of your masks, but that's what brought you to our consciousness. And then, of course, I dived into your art. Is mask giving you a much bigger audience because you came through my consciousness through the mask? That's question one. Question two, let's talk about your art after that.
Okay. Um, yes, definitely. I believe that with the masks, I am reaching a much wider market. It's incredible how during this really, really hard time for everybody, many people are struggling with maybe no job, or it's really horrible. I know that. But it's incredible how this new mask thing for me is meaning a lot because I am working like never before. So uh, it's just very different because before this I used to be much more creative because I had time to create new designs. But right now, and also I used to travel a lot because I was printing a lot of my t-shirts, every trying to keeping it fresh, and then I was going to the main bear events across Europe. And then once my last trip, actually, I went also to California, which was amazing.
Oh,
Um, so I was used to travel and draw in my spare time. And then when the pandemic started, I was freaking out a little bit at the beginning because I was really scared that I would not work anymore because I could not travel anymore. All the bear events were canceled. And I was thinking, okay, now people are going to face a big crisis. They're not going to have a lot of money. They don't really want to spend on t-shirts, which because it's not really something necessary. That's what I thought.
you were right because we haven't spent any money on t-shirt, but we spent money on masks. Well, because it's an expressive thing. But please go on.
But the funny thing is that I didn't really want to make masks. Some people told me, oh, you should masks with your designs. But at first I refused to do so because I was I didn't want to give the wrong impression that I was trying to cash on a pandemic because I hated that idea. I didn't want to do that. So for a while I was like, no, I'm not doing masks. I don't want to do that. And then one day I found a little website where you could make personalized masks, and I just did one for myself. It was just the Adam face, the
Oh,
nose
the other
with the
face.
beard.
Yeah, that's the one we have three of.
Yeah, it was also a weird fabric. It was like a kilted, but I wanted to, for fun, I was like, you know what? I don't want to just put a design on there. I want to make the face of the character so that you can wear the face of the character. It should be fun. I made three of the same. I received it, and then just for fun, I put it on my Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, look, guys, what I received! I made a sample of this mask. What do you think?" And then people started going crazy. I received, I don't know, like 600 messages in 1 hour.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
"Oh my god, this is
Oh my god.
okay!" And then people were telling me, "Oh, you should really produce these. When are these available? I want it." And then I was like, okay, so maybe I should give it a try. Maybe I should make a few. And then also, what made me change my mind were many messages of people telling me, with this kind of mask, a lot of people would smile. I would feel much happier to wear a mask rather than the horrible medical ones. So I thought, okay, maybe actually it is a good thing because it's a bad moment. People are probably scared, sad, but this can give a smile to whoever sees or wears them. So that's when I
Yeah.
changed my mind.
And I'm very happy you did because I'm sure you know to at least some degree. I hope to a very large extent just how much happiness you brought to the people wearing the mask, myself included, and how many times we're being stopped in the street, the three of us, because we usually wear like Kevin wears the gray bearded one. I don't know the name. I know Adam, and then I wear the wolf one or the dog looking one, which is the white with the teeth.
Mhm.
But we are getting stopped everywhere. And I mean by straight, gay, mostly straight people, like, oh my God, we love your masks. So it's not only giving us expression, but you're making the people across from us wearing it uh, put a smile on their face, which is like a win-win-win. So I am very happy that you were convinced into going to that direction.
This is the best compliment ever, and it's amazing because it's not only you. Many people keep telling me this. So for me, it means a lot. It really means a lot. But I also experience it myself because I go around wearing my masks, of course, and people that have no idea that it's my mask. So people are like, "Oh, I like your mask. Oh, it's funny." Even this morning, I went to a supermarket and there was a guy who saw me with a mask before, and he told me, "Oh, I want one." And he saw me today, and he was like, "Where is my mask?" And by chance, I had one, and I gave it to him, and he was so
Oh,
happy. He was going around the supermarket with the mask. It was just a straight guy in the supermarket. He has no idea what kind of mask it is, but
straight guys want it. Straight guys.
yeah.
Our best girlfriend is wearing your other one.
Oh,
Yeah, our best girlfriend when she goes with us because like, she doesn't want to feel excluded. She needs to wear one of yours because the three of us wear
it's easy
both.
to feel a bear. Just wear it. Wear the face.
This is it. Talk a little bit about your art, and I'm curious. Was the transition from day job to doing this more time, or you still have a leg in the corporate world or a leg outside of it,
No.
or you're fully within Bobo-Bear?
Yeah, actually, I am fully into Bobo-Bear, and I am doing everything by myself, which is a bit crazy sometimes because maybe I might need someone helping me, but right now I'm doing everything by myself. So sometimes people send me messages or emails like, "You guys," it's not guys, it's me. I'm doing everything.
You guys is
So
only Bobo-Bear.
So I receive the orders, I process the order, I print the labels, I physically put the masks in the envelopes, I go to the post office, I do everything by myself. I do the designs, I answer to the emails, to social media, I do everything.
Wow, you're doing four people's jobs basically.
But that's to say that, yeah, definitely I don't have another job. I need to sleep.
Yes, you need help.
The problem is that I am a perfectionist and I like things done in a certain way because it's not just a job for me, it's
It's
my
your
business,
art,
it's
yeah.
my
It's your
creation. So I I am always a very accommodating guy. I like to be relaxed and chilled, but when it comes to my own stuff, I want things to be done in a
I can
certain way.
understand that
So,
it's a creation. It's you putting your art in the world. I totally can understand it.
so that's why
Oh,
maybe it's not so easy for me to find help. I mean, I didn't even try and search, but you were
question on
talking
your art.
about the transition. It was
Yes.
actually a proper transition because so in Italy for about 16 years I worked in retail. So and in the last period I was a manager in a supermarket. But that was also very stressful because I did love my colleagues very much, but the job was not worth it. It was very long hours. I had to wake up very early in the morning, most times, close the shop late, one day off. It was not great. Um, then when I moved to London, I started working in retail as well, in a couple of shops
Mhm.
first. But then in the meantime, in my spare time, I was also starting to do what I'm doing now. It was the very beginning, though times. And then um, at some point, I realized that if I really wanted to believe in what I was doing, I needed to dedicate more time to it. So, and I tried to find a way to have more time. So I met a friend of mine, a guy I hadn't seen for a while back in that time, and he told me about his job in a theater. He was working as how do you call it, front of house
Okay.
in the theater, and it was mainly an evening job. During the day, he had a lot of time to do whatever he wanted. So for me, it was like, okay, I liked, like, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to find a similar job, work in the evening, and during the day, I can do my stuff. That's what I did. I started bringing CVs to all the possible theaters in London, and I found a job. So for a while, I had to work in the shop where I was working because I needed to give them 1 month notice, but also in the theater in the afternoon
Wow.
slash evening. So for a month I was literally, not literally. But
Wow.
I really wanted to do it, and eventually it paid because
Because you had time
during
to create
that
design.
yeah during that experience in the theater, I had a lot of time in the morning, and even when I was there, there were long
Breaks.
periods breaks where I could actually sketch there. So I was known as the guy who was drawing all the time.
Speaking of drawing all the time, you talking about, initial like origins of manga, drawing man, you knew it was your passion.
Mhm.
Um, was COVID because you knew your passion before COVID? I think for a lot of people, they're discovering their passions in COVID. They're
Mhm.
discovering their what they really wanted to do, what they really wanted to sink their teeth into. I think for you, I'm hearing at least like before COVID, all of your art in a way took off and you were traveling a lot for that art and you had time, and now you have less, let's call it creative time, and you have more production time. How do you feel about COVID, the transition, your art? Do you miss the point of sketching more? Do you miss the point of creating more art? Or is this like
Mhm.
because production
I
now? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am missing that very much, honestly, because in part for myself, because I need that moment when I sit down, I create, and I feel like I'm generating something new and it's exciting. I really like that and I miss that. But also for all the fans of my work, because I sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I'm not really giving anything new to. It's true, yes, the masks, but I would really like to create new designs to keep it fresh and exciting.
Mhm.
Also, in let's say recently-ish times, I got to be more aware of how important diversity and representation is. So, if so far in my designs you can see mainly beefy guys, quite muscular, all 99% white. I think it's very important that I start representing more diversity, body
I
types, ethnicities. So that's something that I really want to do. And it's frustrating because I don't have time to do that. So I hope my public understands that it's not that I'm not doing it because I don't want
oh
to, but I have no time to create anything new.
I have to amazing. I think a lot of us as a society are waking up to how gay society, at least in us, are not really promoting diversity and inclusion. I think a lot of us are just waking up to that trend. And you know the meme, you probably have seen the meme, gay diversity around the world, and you see those chiseled muscle bears in like all the pictures around the world. And you have just slightly tiny little shades of brown, but that's it. And if there is a darker brown, it'll be somewhere away from the center of the picture. And that's our idea of diversity, just being in a different city. Um, and I admit I'm a white gay man, and I'm surrounded by mostly white gay men. But it's funny. My day job, by the way, is about diversity and inclusion in the startup world, in tech world. And yes, representation is the first start because you start the conversation. That being said, I have to give you something to make you feel a little better. The fact that you have a bear masks that are very much different in colors open the door for us to be represented, or for friends of mine to be represented, regardless of their ethnicity, and they're not white. So they're wearing your mask that are the animal without
Yeah,
any thought whatsoever about what diversity and inclusion, because it's an animal, it's a shade of color of an animal, and it
that's
worked.
so with the masks, because I have some with faces and beards, and I am trying now with the Christmas masks. I did Santa, I did Black Santa, and then I did also the beard with South Asian face and with African face, but those were not well printed. So I am waiting for a new production to arrive, and then I will put them on the website. But actually, when I started doing this Bear Zoo series with all the animals, that's exactly the point. That's why I did it, and that's why I wanted to do the masks with
Nice.
all the bears, different color of bears, because those are just animals. It's not white, black. It's just an animal. So it's for everybody. And there is no discrimination in that at all. So nobody can say, oh, but why you did that? Also, the original bear I did was with this kind of light brown color. And then I did also a darker version to make
I love
everybody
it.
happy because
We have the darker version and the lighter version. We literally have all of your masks now. We have.
But a few years ago, at the beginning, I didn't realize how important that was because I was watching. I didn't have experience in this at all, and I was just watching numbers. And I was seeing that I tried to make a couple of characters of color, but they were not selling. So the reality is, what I am selling, even the masks, I did masks with brown skin, but those are not selling very well. My customer, the average customer, is a white guy. That's just a fact.
Right.
But so I was like, okay, but it doesn't. What's the point of making something that I know already is not going to be sold?
That's
But it's
interesting.
not that. It's not, even if nobody buys it, but it's there. Everybody can see it.
Wow.
It already makes a difference, and it makes me feel different anyway.
Oh,
So
it does make a difference because I think the beginning point is just as you described, is to see that it's available. It's not the you I actually resonate really, really deeply with this because you can't change a system until you either present a new system or the system falls apart. You're presenting a new system. But by putting that face there with a different color skin or different ethnicity, you're changing the way people perceive us, even just by virtue of it being there. So I'm actually touche. I'm impressed. You are now in the midst of a lot of production.
sorry, this period a lot is happening, so I am constantly processing orders, packing masks, going, and then in all this I have 20, I don't know, boxes of stuff there, all the t-shirts and stuff that I used to sell traveling, and that is just piling up in time. And now I am working because I need to sell that stuff anyway. So I am working on a massive sample sale on my website. I am trying to work. So every time you do a new mask, anyway, you have to design it. I have new ideas. So in the meantime, I am also trying to have a little bit of social life, which is not going to be possible from tomorrow because there is a new lockdown. Yay. But also, my boyfriend who lives in Italy is moving to London on Friday. So in 2 days. So all that is happening. And I will stay with him for 2 weeks because he will need to self-isolate, and I will be there to, grocery shopping, to keep him company, whatever. So yeah, it is quite busy. It's a busy time.
Congratulations on the move, first and foremost. That's important. That's
Yeah.
we're moving in together, the three of us. Well, we've been together for 2 years, but the moving in together was COVID.
For me, it was the opposite because during lockdown, so it took us, I wouldn't say really by surprise, but yeah, we didn't know how it would be. So we couldn't meet each other for 5 months. So for 5 months, we were
Wow.
video calling and nothing. So that was a bit
Ouch.
tough. Yeah.
On top of COVID, on top of
Yeah.
losing the way the work was before to making the work new.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How are you guys coping? How are you guys
I'm lucky.
managing? Go ahead.
No, I'm lucky that I was really busy with work, with all the masks and stuff. Otherwise, maybe I would not have coped so well with it.
Because you had something to throw yourself at to. How are you two doing now that he's coming back and there's another lockdown? You going from 5 months away to living together 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. What do you see yourself, or where do you see your art in the coming, let's say, year? And I'm really curious, and I ask this of all my artist friends: what is your world in your mind post COVID? What is your world as an artist post COVID?
Yeah, sure. I could already see that when the first lockdown was over. It was such an amazing feeling to be able to meet someone and just hug them. I'm a hugger, so like
Same. Oh, Next time we meet, you'll get one. We were big huggers too.
So that was a great feeling, and I am sure that when this is over for good, yeah, people are going to really be ready to enjoy their life fully, and maybe at least for a while give importance to what really matters. I have some ideas, so I want to expand what is already existing. So to create new characters, to play more with diversity. I want to expand the idea of the bear zoo because I think these little animals, that was something that I wasn't sure if would have worked, because normally my average customer want a hunky man, but I try to do something more fun with these animals, and actually many people really like them. I want to create more characters. I already have them in my mind, and I want to play with them because I think it's just fun, and we all need to feel represented somehow, even if it's just by our bear tribe. I want to be, some people see themselves as a muscle bear, some
Right.
are a fighter or whatever. So it's not just an animal, it's something that represents yourself. So I think that's why it works. And there is much more that I want to represent with those characters. And then there is another kind of idea line that I want to call Bobo Icon. I already started with just a couple of characters, but I will do more. It will be like divas seen as animals again. So I already have, I mean, when I was in Madonna, I am working now on Ariana Grande as a bunny, of course. Mariah Carey as she's gonna be a cat.
She has to be a cat. Yeah,
Well, no, she at the beginning she was supposed to be a pig, but it would sound offensive because I didn't do it with malice.
how about like Miss
Piggy from the
Piggy?
Muppet Show. I
Miss
mean,
Piggy, yeah, she is Miss
it's
Piggy.
Mariah,
She is
but
Mariah.
I love Mariah. I love Mariah, and I don't want to look like I'm trying to offend anybody. So she's gonna be a cat, and there's gonna be Britney, who's gonna be a bitch, of course,
Nice. I love it.
and a few more. Kylie is gonna be a possum because she's from Australia. I'm not sure if many people know what a possum is. They would probably think it's a mouse, but still, she has the face, you know.
She has that face. Yeah, she does.
She's cute. She's cute.
She is
I'm also a
gorgeous.
Kylie fan. She's really lovely. I mean, I never met her in person, but for what I can see, interviews, she's really lovely.
Nice.
So these are now the main ideas, and then I want to expand also the production, because this year I did some Speedos. I want to try and do maybe underwear or trucker caps, that kind of stuff.
Oh, baseball caps would be really nice.
So the lockdown here now means that, well, so far what we know is that it's starting tomorrow and it's going to last a month.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, so the 2nd of December should be the last day, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Cross everything, balls, hairs.
Grab everything, cross everything.
So all the restaurants, bar, pubs are going to be closed. You can just go to the supermarket, to the doctor if it's something urgent. You can go to the pharmacy.
When production gets more automated, you're gonna draw more. Obviously, are you gonna travel more again?
Expect is that in the future, I would really love to see more of the US, or in general to travel more, not only Europe.
Right.
Even if I don't really bring much stuff to sell, it's more about connecting with people, meeting people, get them to know what I do. That's it. But as you said, probably the masks helped me to be more known in countries where I wasn't really that much.
Yeah, I don't know what your audience size was before, but I can tell you that a lot of people around us know you now, not just because of us, because a lot of people around us that are wearing your masks. Very last question I have for you is, what are your thoughts in terms to just us as a village? How are we going to come out of this? Because
I am sure that we're going to come out of it very well. every time I was going to some event, it was amazing when I was meeting people across Europe that I already met maybe 1 year before, a few months before in other events, and there was this kind of sense of family, of connection, of like, oh, it's so good to see you. Give me a hug. How have you been? And then having a drink together. That was great, and I think we all need that. And it's I am sure it's gonna be like before after a while.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how immediate that will be.
Right.
It's gonna take some time. I mean, yeah, I am an optimistic, but I don't believe that it's gonna be over with a snap of the fingers. Of course,
Right.
it's gonna
It's a
take,
process.
but it's just a matter of patience and time, and it's gonna be like before. And for some people, it's gonna be better than before because they will be more aware of how precious uh, meeting other people is.
Like connecting to your point with your father, you connected to your own internal passion in your with your father's passing. I think now the community is connecting with their internal community for the same exact reason.
Yeah, and I also believe that when I was a kid, or more a teenager or growing up, I was a bit more cynical maybe, and I used to watch a lot of animes, as I told you, and normally the final message was that friendship or love is always the answer,
Hmm.
can always do everything. So like Sailor Moon,
Always more powerful.
Senseiya, all the power together, all the power of friendship, or even in Disney movies, love is what makes miracles. And I used to be like, love, always friendship. Yeah, I've heard it so many times. So let's do something original, not always love. But now that I grew older, I'm like, yeah, that's so true.
That
It's
is
so simple. It's such a simple truth, but it is. There's nothing more important than love and friendship. So, and this to say that when you get to that realization and you know how important and beautiful it is and meaningful it is, when you go and see people that maybe you don't really know that well in deep, but you have this kind of feeling like, I love
connect.
these people. I am part of a community. I want to do something for them. I want them to be happy. I want to be happy with them. That's so good, and I think that kind of feeling, uh, it's one of the most important feelings you can have.
I cannot mirror that enough. And if I can say anything worth of compliment to you is you brought a lot of loves and laughs and smiles to a significant amount of people, even during COVID. So yes, you are spreading love. Even with something as simple as a mask, you're spreading a lot of love. People are smiling all around us all the time because of your masks. And I know that you're in the weeds of production, but if your message and your desire is to expand our tribe and to make people smile, I can attest this for myself that you're doing that in spades. You're spending a lot of
No,
love. But
thank
yeah.
you so much for your kind word. And you know, I want to go back to what you said at the beginning, that most of gay art is very much
Hypersexualized.
sexual and hypersexual. Yeah, and actually, I think it was a proper choice of me to keep it a bit undertone under that, because I wanted my art and my characters to be more relatable, fun, smiling. I want people looking at my characters to feel that they could be their friends. So that's what I wanted to do. Even though I'm telling you this, uh, I took a very different direction from what it was supposed to be at the beginning, because when I created my very first three characters, uh, they were supposed to be protagonists of a porn comic. So that was the intention. But then when I drawn the study of the characters, I thought, oh, but I think they work well anyway. And then I started depicting them doing ordinary things, not necessarily sexy stuff. I found out that I was happier that way.
It's a really interesting because we know Tom of Finland and we know what was it? The demon sex one, the early on in the days of early gay comics. And we have a good friend in the Bay Area called Justin Hall that does actually studies around gay comics specifically. And in most of them, the hypersexuality comes from sexual expression. The fact you cross the line, actually, in the way I see it for us, this cannot be construed as sexual for a straight person across. Or when I wear anyone, if I wear any one of your Adam shirts or any one of your Adam wear, this is not hypersexual. You see a little VPL, tiny little, it's not an arm. It's not it doesn't push it to the realm of provocation. So when a straight person sees it, female, male, or otherwise, they don't get triggered by the provocation. I love that choice personally, because when I wear something, it's not saying I'm here for sex. It's saying I'm here, like the ugly shirt says, free hugs. It's here for a hug. It's not here for the sex, which is
But also I think that the gay community has been connected to sex very much, a lot, maybe a bit too much. I mean, I am aware that sex is a big part of
right.
who we are, because when you go to a bear event, there is always something sex related. We all like to do that. We feel quite free about that. So I love that. It's good. But I don't want, also for other people, for hetero people to think, okay, gays are all about sex, always only about sex. It's not only that.
No, it makes us too one-dimensional. Yeah, we can have fun, but it doesn't make us one-dimensional. There is, I don't know if you in London can have that state. I think a lot of metropolitan cities can take a gay man from wherever they came from, and they go to this big city, and they go into what I call Peter Pan complex. They go back to Peter Pan complex. They have, I call it the gay 20s. No matter what age they are, they will have their gay 20s, but they're 30, 40, 50, or 60. They'll have those 10 years of acting like a 20-year-old. And then they'll come out of it deciding, do I want to stay 20 or do I want to grow up? And I think a lot of people are somewhere in between. When I was done with my gay 20s in San Francisco, I want the partner. I want the meal. I want the cuddle in front of the TV. I don't want to be on an app looking for, a McDonald's drive-through in the middle of the night. That's I call casual sex a drive-through in the middle of the night. It's not a sit-down dinner that somebody cooked you. It's a quick drive-through. That's but you have thoughts on this? So yes, on that question, when it comes to the hypersexualization, it was a conscious choice then to be not a provocation, to be, I like it a lot.
But also it's also for a practical reason. I mean, it's because of everything I said so far, but also when I started realizing that many of my designs could be on a t-shirt. Normally people don't want anything too explicit on a t-shirt, because unless you really want to shock
to the party,
poor old woman on the street. But normally when it's too much, maybe you like to look at it, you would put it a like on Instagram or Twitter, but you would not wear it.
Right.
So I wanted to give something mild, fun, but not too explicit.
And it's very, very approachable, and it's very kind. It's very sweet. I mean, the amount of, again, I always go back to the way that people react to your masks, because the reaction is always a smile. The reaction is always, and it's from females and males, straight or otherwise. And it's, I find that very, very, very endearing. Your art is endearing because it makes the first impression of, I want to hug that person. I want to be around that person.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk. And I know you have a crazy year ahead of you, regardless of COVID. I can only imagine that when the events go back, you'll be happy to be traveling between places.
Oh, yeah. I will, even though I think now with COVID, I am learning for the first time how to deal with everything online. And I will probably travel a little bit less, or I will travel more for fun than for work, just to see people, to meet people, to enjoy my life a bit more.
Important.
Yeah, because if I can make it work online, it's much easier. Because look, Yes, I know it sounds fabulous, traveling all the events and
Oh, it's
but
exhausting.
it also means that every time you have to go take a train to go to the airport with through 2 or 3 huge suitcases full of stuff. You need to drag them everywhere. It's hard work, and then you need to find a place where you can put all the stuff, talk to a lot of people, and then they might not be so well organized. So every time is a bit stressed to make it work, and then you have to put everything in the bags back at the end of the night, and drag your bags to your room. It's hard work.
It's very hard work, and I think if you, I don't know where your career is going. I can only see what I've seen in the last, 7 months. Uh, but you are your own banner, and you being in those events will alert other people to your art as well. You don't
Mm,
need you're your own billboard, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
So you should go to events for fun because you obviously know that love and smiles, love and happiness trump everything else in terms of our world. And by the way, that's coming from the day after election that we don't know if he's getting 4 more years or not. Never mind that. But even then, what's important in our life is to spread that love, and you're doing it with your art. So thank you.
no, thank you.
On that last note, I will say your website is www.bobo-bear.com. Is that
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Yes.
Yes. And on my website, you can find. So the speedos are coming back in stock because it was an experiment, but it worked. So I'm producing a bit more of the more popular ones. There's gonna be masks. I will try and make new masks going ahead. And yeah, I'm starting this new big sample sale very soon.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's gonna be Christmas stuff too.
Great.
So yeah,
Thank you very much. You prefer Bobo then, not Roberto.
yeah, Bobo, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bobo. It was a pleasure talking with you. I can't wait to see what's coming up ahead for you. Love your art. Thank you for making us smile through COVID.
Mhm. Well, thank you for having me. It was really great getting to know you a little bit more. You're a lovely man.
Oh, thank
Thank you,
you.
and yeah, talk to you soon.
Take care. This has been Little Gay Guide. I'm Ron Zakai. This is Bobo Bear. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.